My name is Tyler Royke. I'm here with my co-host Jimmy Doolin. You're listening to ABC Agent Broker Conversations, where we talk all things real estate. And we've got some news, which is we're back, and we have quite a bit we could potentially talk about here. I mean, yeah, I think since we aired the last episode, we've actually linked up at two different events in two different, I would say, states, but the last one was a different country. So it seems like every time we get on the ground, it's in a different state or country at this point, which is pretty exciting. I think we're up to four now. But yeah, with that, Jimmy, how's everything for you now that you're back after a week away in Cabo?
Yeah, you're like becoming my travel buddy. I keep meeting you in different faraway places. So I don't think we've ever actually been to anywhere within a 50-mile radius of our own personal homes. So I'm
Yeah.
good. Cabo was fabulous. I know you're a resident expert of Cabo. I was the rookie, the virgin, the whole 9 yards at Cabo. But wow, that's all I can say, man. What an extraordinary. I mean, listen, there's great people at every organization. Every every place I've ever been, and especially from a work perspective, which is essentially Remax and now EXP, and my two affiliations in both of those, I have made lifelong friends. So it's not like the people is uniquely different, but I would say that the event was uniquely different, and I could summarize it for me. What makes these events with so far so different for me, and it doesn't matter if I'm in Seattle or if we're meeting in Dallas or Miami or now Cabo. Um, it's just about the vastness of the opportunity. It's removing the barriers. It is extending my sites well beyond where they could have ever previously been. I was considered very successful at my past affiliation. Um, Not the most successful by any stretch, but I was certainly considered to be one of the most successful. And that doesn't even scratch the surface on the opportunities in front of us. So yeah, that's the piece that just continues to blow me away.
Yeah, and it makes me think of something Ed Milet shared, who was the biggest keynote at this particular event. I actually got to chat it up with him for a little bit, which was a blessing. I was really hoping that would happen, and I ran into him. It's like I almost manifested it, but anyway, he said something during the keynote, which is regarding the story he shared, which he said was unique to our audience. He said he doesn't share this story with other audiences, which I believe that's the case because I haven't heard him share this story anywhere else before. And I've listened to a lot of his stuff, probably as much of his stuff as anyone. But he said the reason he shared this particular story with us and not elsewhere is he says reality is like, most places out there I go speak, like, they don't have an opportunity to build something, as big as what I'm sharing here. But with you guys, you do. Because he was sharing a story and an analogy with an island he owns, and he's pouring a very substantial amount of money into developing this island, and it's going to be one of the most extraordinary personal residences in the entire country by the time he's done with it. But he said, hey, the reason I share that with you guys is like it's possible to build this big of a dream here with your organization. That's the reality of it. It's not possible everywhere else out there. So I thought that was really really neat to hear his take on that.
For sure. So I made myself a list, Tyler. Things to do, and my list goes 40 deep. Books to read, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deep. Videos to watch, it's 3 deep. Um,
Nice.
yeah,
That's a lot of takeaways. I usually tell people if you have like one takeaway or two or three, then you're golden. But you got 40. That's and I know you know how to implement things, so that's exciting to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I've already watched a video. I've already set up a Zoom, which was one of my takeaways. I mean, some of these are very, very small and will take seconds. Others are, bigger and more time consuming. But yeah, I mean, I've already put 2 check marks. Well, actually, I bought all the books, so I've bought all the books. I've watched one of the videos, and I've already made an appointment for a Zoom meeting with one of these people that I wanted to. So I'm like 7 or 8 items deep here. I got to the office at 7:30 a.m. and it's now a little after 10. So yeah, exciting stuff. I don't know. Do you want to just start covering different things, or what's your thought here? I mean, obviously, we both got so much information.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can just dive into things. Obviously, it's been what has it been 3 weeks since our last episode here, so lots of new things. Like not even just with us. I mean, I think there's enough new things with us that we could talk about. But even in the world of real estate, it's kind of been crazy. Just how much news has dropped in the last like 2-3 weeks. That on some level is affecting things in our industry, right?
Yeah, I know Leo took the stage and said this is going to be the most transitional year in real estate history.
Yep.
And that wasn't. I don't know that was necessarily his prediction as much as just like what people are saying and what's going on. And we've seen a lot of change already. I mean, I know you are familiar with this, but I don't know that everybody's familiar. CEO for Real stepped down. Sharon now is on the board of directors. Rocket bought out Redfin, so now Redfin is previously saw themselves as a technology company, but now they are owned by a mortgage company, and I believe Rocket isn't that owned by Quicken and QuickBooks and all? Isn't that their world? I'm
I
pretty
need
sure.
to double check on that.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. Keller Williams brought in private equity, so it's now now has a controlling interest. And then I don't know, but I believe Compass is there's some discussion out there that Compass is buying Berkshire Hathaway, which I find probably is more interesting than in any of the other ones. And the reason why I say that is because, what's his name? The billionaire, what's his name? The old man.
Warren Buffett.
Thank you, Warren. Warren doesn't sell stuff he doesn't sell industries he believes in. So I find that a bit interesting of him potentially exiting the real estate industry.
Yeah. Yeah, good point on that.
Actually, I think Merrill Lynch owns Rocket. That's what it is. I think Merrill Lynch owns Rocket.
No, I think no, I looked it up. Quicken. No, I see an association with Quicken on there. Is it Merrill Lynch though?
Does Merrill Lynch own that? I feel like
Quicken Loans. Quicken Loans in 2021 rebranded to Rocket Mortgage. That's what that's what pops up on Google.
Yeah, and then ask Google who owns it. Who owns Rocket Mortgage? And I think it may have something to do with Merrill Lynch. And I don't know this. I'm older than you are, but whatchamacallit, Merrill Lynch or one of them bought Coldwell Banker back in the 80s when I was a kid. I wasn't in the industry, but I just remember my mother. No, Sears and Roebuck, maybe. Sears and Roebuck bought Coldwell Banker. So my point being that people outside of this industry have tried to buy their way in, and it doesn't typically bode well because of the lack of real estate is a unique business, and it's a unique business model. and without some inner knowledge of it is a difficult one for others to step into.
Yeah, and that's why I really appreciate. That's one of the biggest things I really appreciate about our leadership at EXP is that I mean their background in real estate is about as extensive as it could possibly be from a real estate agent's perspective, and now they're in leadership roles, but they understand what it's like to be a highly productive agent in our industry because that was their life. They lived it. So I know not all leaders in our industry have that kind of background. In fact, it seems really rare that a leader in our industry would have a background as a highly productive real estate sales agent.
Yeah, well, the other ones we forgot to mention was Remax got a new logo, and they also their president stepped down. So their CEO is now taken over the helm, and again, a non-real estate person, somebody who came in, and the other piece is I don't know the financials of each one of these organizations well enough to pinpoint it, but the other piece is some of these companies are riddled with debt at a time when debt is not going to serve them very well. It's number one, debt's expensive right now. And number two, it tends to compress and restrict your ability to do certain things. So pretty thrilled to be with an organization with zero debt and no outside control. Right there, that piece is huge. Yeah, but they say it's going to be the biggest year in M&A history within the real estate industry. So I found that to be, I mean, obviously we're off to, I don't know how much could be left other than some of the maybe mid-sized companies being consumed. There's just not much available right here,
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like it's tracking in that direction, especially with the KW news, and then all these other, I mean, the other rumors too. But yeah,
I guess the only thing you don't have on here really is the Realogy companies. That's the only big player that's not mentioned. You don't have anything going on, at least in terms of what we've heard, anything going on with Century 21, Coldwell Banker, ERA. Although what's her name did step down or retire from Better Homes and Gardens. Can't remember her name right now, but the CEO of that did retire or step down or something. But no real stuff going on with C21, Caldwell, ERA, and Better Homes and Gardens, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that the Cincinnati sales rally sold out. Matter of fact, I'm confused by it.
The sales rally?
Yeah. So the sales rally is maybe end of April.
Are you saying the regional rally, the EXP one?
Exactly.
Oh, it sold out?
Yeah. So Tamara and I, one of the things I wrote down was we need to get a big group and go there. And so we looked it up, and we looked it up on Workplace, and it says it's sold out, which just blows my mind because it's either something happened that made it wildly popular, or it's just too small of a venue, because I can't imagine that.
Reach out to the organizers. I've never heard of one of those selling out this early. I would get in contact with whoever's organizing that.
We're going to, but it's on Workplace. You can see the people saying, "I want to get tickets," and it being said that it's sold out. Pardon me. We certainly won't quit there, but we wanted to take a big group. That was one of the things that I left with, is that I wanted to plug into these local events, and I want to get more of my crew in these local events. And I was surprised when I saw that it was listed as sold out. We have, we've got we have Detroit, and we have we've got Nashville available to us.
Sweet.
But those are twice as far as Cincinnati's only 2 hours from me.
Okay. Yeah.
And those are both Nashville's 4 hours and Detroit's about 5 hours. So Cincinnati, I was thinking about a large bus, and I already worked out the math to find out what it would cost to take a large bus full of people there. And when you double the trip, then it becomes harder to do it in a day. And
Yeah.
4 hour, 2 hours there, 2 hours back is pretty easy. 4 or 5 hours there, and 4 or 5 hours in the event, and 4 or 5 hours back is a really long day.
Oh yeah.
But we'll figure it out. I was just excited to see that there's enthusiasm, so much so that it would sell out the event. And again, I don't know how many they seat. I've never been to one, so this will be my first, whichever one I end up going to.
Yeah. I mean, they're different sizes, different capacities for each of those.
So, did you have a favorite topic, a favorite speaker?
Oh yeah, but I mean, by far Ed Milet. I mean, he's ranked by whoever ranks these things the number one speaker in the world. So, I mean, in past years, that's been Tony Robbins. So that's a pretty high, pretty high order to fill those shoes. But yeah, just phenomenal. I don't think there was a single person in the crowd that wasn't emotionally moved by what he shared and how he delivered it. So really impactful message. But yeah, he was my favorite speaker, but I don't know that it's really a fair comparison if you're sharing the stage with Ed Milet. So,
well, but I just so I didn't realize I'd never heard him speak before, so that was my first time hearing him.
Okay.
I was not aware that he was until just now when you said that. I wasn't aware that he was so highly recognized or regarded, etc.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest, most influential people in the world of business and entrepreneurship. And his background is in financial services. So he built, probably one of the largest sales organizations in the financial services industry. That's how he built his wealth in the first place. And then
what company was he with?
I believe it was Transamerica, or no, World Financial, WFG World Financial Group, I believe. And that goes back to the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's where that's the industry where he really got really built something, and then he's parlayed that into other companies he's an investor or shareholder in, and he's a world-class coach. He has coaching clients that pay quite a bit for one-on-one coaching with him, and then he does speaking as well. He's an author. He has one of the top podcasts in the world in the business category. It's on the top of the list if you look up iTunes or Spotify or whatever. So he does quite a few things, but yeah, he helps people that are looking to personally develop and just learn more about how they can level up with their business and life. That's kind of what he does.
How about that frickin' island?
Oh yeah, that's incredible. He's he's making that into one of the most incredible residential properties in the whole country.
That's insane. I mean, the story of what he's going through there, and just he said it was $8 million alone just to get the boats to bring the equipment across, not the equipment, not to buy it or to rent it or whatever, but just to transport it. I mean, that's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, just constantly going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, but $8 million. Everything okay out of your window?
Yeah, there's just some guy that just literally stopped in the front of my driveway.
You need to address it. I could do like a dog and pony show while you're gone.
Yeah, let me go see what's up here. Just give me a second.
You got it. No problem. I'll just share. So, there was, first of all, I'll just go over and cover while Tyler's doing it. Here's the list of all the speakers: Bill Pipes, G3 Coaching. James Massey, pardon me. James Massey was an agent in Atlanta who was just sharing his story, which was awesome. He's accomplished some great things and was a really nice guy to listen to. Blair Eastman Priester. My favorite thing she said: relationships will get you places where money cannot. I thought that was a great line. Then we had the Girls with Grit. That was they were exciting. They built their little coaching company into a $25 million company in short order. Gene Frederick, one of the, and again, I don't know all the, I'm learning who's wildly successful within EXP, but Gene Frederick, who is wildly successful within EXP, he spoke. Al Stasek, Stasek, he spoke. Veronica Figueroa spoke, and I worked with Veronica at Remax, so I'm familiar with her. John and Chelsea Jubilee, Energized Health was their company. They spoke about health. Brett Gove spoke. He's also one of the major alpha recruiters and things and agent attractors. I think 14, 15,000, 20,000 people in his downline. Let's see here. Who else? Sorry, I was just going over the list of speakers.
We heard from some incredible people. You got to hear from Rob Flick, who's the OG for building a organization essentially in real estate. So he's the guy who originally. Did you get to meet him by any chance?
No, I never talked to him. I heard him obviously, but I never talked to him. I watched one of his videos this morning, the one on the something flow.
The wealth chart.
Wealth chart. That's it. Wealth chart. Yeah, I watched his video on the wealth chart this morning. There was a guy named Coach Burt. He talked about Pray Drive, which was interesting. If you're not familiar with that term, you might Google it. He was real. I mean, everybody. Then obviously Leo Spring Benson, she spoke. Anna Powell, Gina Kerr, Rob Flick. Oh my gosh, there were so many people.
Yeah, Al Stasek, Jay Kinder.
Steve Harwood, that guy with the Prime Corporate Services. He was pretty interesting. I think that is an accounting firm, but he was just, I don't know. The message was pretty. I thought it was pretty powerful. I was intrigued by it. Tony Giordano, Kyle Whistle, USA Home Bids, Gary Brecka. Now that was pretty freaking amazing. Gary Brecka, the ultimate human. He was speaking about health and, my wife being a doctor of pharmacy, she was really, really intrigued. He put a slide up there that most people would be unfamiliar with. And she was like, yeah, we had to study that that was what I studied in college. So,
okay.
So she was familiar. And what did you think of that health stuff? Did that intrigue you at all?
Yeah, I've heard Gary Brecka speak once before. So, a lot of it wasn't probably as striking to me because I've heard him kind of go through some of this information before, but yeah, I think it's pretty pretty compelling to at least look more into what he shares about and see how to apply some of those things. I think it's a very relevant.
If you've heard him before, did you make any changes based on what he said?
No, but I think I will this time. Sometimes you need to hear something more than once, right? So I wrote a couple things down.
Tamara's going to join that his community.
Yeah, I was thinking that I would probably do that too.
she thought she would join, and then obviously she can just share with me and take notes and share with me but like I'm sitting here drinking a bottle of water, and I can't help but think about him on that stage, that this water is not going to go into my body and hydrate my body. It's just simply going to go in and then go right back out into a toilet. And it's not going to do what it should do. And actually, it's going to cause some inflammation because of what's in it, as opposed to what it should be doing, which is hydrating my body and reducing inflammation. That story, I've recited it. Well, I got home yesterday and ran a few errands, stopped by my mom's to check on her. And I talked to my son this morning, and both my mother and my son, I've told them about water and, kind of the misnomer that drinking lots of water is great for you. And it's not that it's not great for you. It's just that it's not doing what instinctively we believe it would be doing based on the way that it I forget what that meter was that he talked about, what was that? What was that meter called?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but it was looking at the
ORB meter. It's an ORB meter, and he says you need to have hydrogen in your water so that it gets into your organs and reduces inflammation as opposed to increases inflammation. So anyway, I can't help but think about that as I drink this nice cold bottle of fresh water, thinking that I'm doing good for myself.
Yeah. And yeah, I think since the last time I heard him speak, probably the biggest thing that stuck with me was how bottled water is not that good. But
no, I know.
Even from the standpoint of like the microplastics in the water, which I usually don't drink these. This is just for my trip back. I've been getting away from bottled water though. But yeah, that was another thing. It's like you're basically ingesting all this plastic. If you drink a bunch of these throughout the year, it just kind of adds up, and that's something that's going into your body, and it doesn't help. I mean, obviously, it's probably not really good to have a lot of plastic inside of you. So
probably not. And the fact that he was part of the Maha movement, and that he's working with President Trump and Bobby Kennedy to, like, I just thought it was so cool that this guy's connection was we had him on the stage. We were hearing his voice, and that's the same person and voice that's in Bobby Kennedy's ear talking about health, who's in President Trump's ear. I mean, it was just whatever he heard from us was only, a couple people removed from being the President Trump.
Yeah.
I thought that was just really cool. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that he told us that in part to validate what he was saying to us. And it 100% did that for me, because I thought to myself, man, if he's a part of that movement, which I believe is very non-partisan, geared towards just better health for the world, I just thought that was the neatest thing in the world. So I was super excited about that. I do have he said basically that inflammation is the root of all evil. He also talked about getting a good night's rest. And I am like, I don't know about you, buddy, but like every night there, I only stayed out. I think it was the night I went to dinner with you guys, that first night or second night. I only had 2 nights that I was out past 9:30. Otherwise, I was back in my room asleep, which is, I love my rest at night.
Yeah. And that's one of the cool things about our organization is, like throughout the years, I've seen that it's, it's not all just about like, hey, building, making more income, building wealth. Like, there's been speakers, and Gary Breck was one of them. And then there was someone else at this event too that was more so, it was a health related, thing he had to talk about. But just like helping people live better lives, not even just from the financial perspective, but the health perspective, just like the key elements of life. I mean, Brent Gove on, and that's the guy that runs this whole event, top earner in the whole company. He personally hosted it was like a sunrise service session on Sunday. I actually went to that. I was surprised there were literally like 200 people there on the beach that got up at like 6:30 a.m. on Sunday after the event was over to go to that. But it's just like, I mean, you see that within our company, and the top leaders in our company is, hey, it's not just kind of centered around, more money, more money, more money. There's all the other elements, health, wealth, just even down to the spiritual side of things. Like, it's kind of like, all of that stuff is a part of the conversation, and a part of, what's offered at these events if you're getting in the room with it. And I don't know that that's the case everywhere. But I love that, EXP as a company, our top leaders, they care about our health. They want us to at least know what we need to know to make the right decisions that, give us a better opportunity to, enjoy more years of our life ultimately.
Yeah, there was 2 speakers on health, one that was a CPA. There were plenty of real live stories of individual persons' successes. There was, 2 or 3, 4, probably well-known type coaching that were there to stretch you. So, you had stretch on your aspirations and your dreams to potentially see it bigger than you would normally see it on your own. You had accounting, and that guy was also like he was about doing good in the world too. Not just, he spent more time talking about just doing good in the world and being a good person than he did actually his business. He didn't have any kind of pitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very diverse. I met somebody, became pretty good friends with her. I won't use her name on here, and she had lost her fiance 20 years ago. And, we kind of connected over the loss of important people with her fiance and with our daughter. And she went to the service out there on the beach on Sunday, and just like, it must have been pretty emotional. At least it was for her. Her and my wife became, I think, really probably good buddies. And but she sent us a video message from Sunday morning, just like tearful and just emotional. And I just, I thought to myself, wow, what a great event that she can not only dream big, but they're helping her heal and helping her process a very difficult and emotional time in her life. So yeah, it was just neat. It was, I mean, I've been to a lot of great events, but it really truly ranked up there. I went to something, I don't think you were in the room. If you were, I didn't see you, and it was not a big room. It was small. More seller financing. Did you learn anything? I know he was on the stage and they talked about it. That he was one of the 2 people that came out with Brent, excuse me. I always want to say Brent Grove, when Brent brought those 2 gentlemen out and let them kind of give a little pitch about they were going to have some breakout sessions.
Okay. No, I didn't go to that one. I went to the Pace Morby. I guess his main thing he did, but I didn't go to like any other breakouts that might have been related to that.
Okay, so this was more seller financing, and I found it just absolutely amazing. He's got this really neat program. I'll take a couple seconds to explain it to you. It basically, what they're doing is, how seller financing typically is, sellers will offer seller financing because it helps them get the full price offer on an otherwise difficult property to sell, right? Make the terms easier. You attract well, what this guy has done is created a model. Instead of looking for the person who can't get a loan in seller financing, what they've done is created a method to take, let's just say that I'm a seller and you're the buyer, Tyler. So you've got good income, good credit, you qualify for a mortgage, but because rates are higher, it restricts your buying capability, right? So you're not getting as much home as you would like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my son is calling in, and it took me. All right, there we go. So because you're getting less home than you would like, what I could do is take my house and I could market it with their product. And let's just say I have a 3% fixed rate mortgage and I've got 20 years left on my mortgage. What they do is they take you, the buyer. Well, excuse me, they'll take me and they'll create a marketing piece. So I have a 3% mortgage. So they'll maybe put it out, let's say at 5.5%. So now instead of you getting a mortgage somewhere for 6 or 7, you could get it down around 5, and they qualify you at that mortgage at 5%. Then as the seller, then they get that person qualified. The realtor then presents it. If I, the seller, decide to go with it, then they requalify me on their platform with they remove my mortgage from my DTI. So now I'm approved. I get approved based on not carrying that mortgage anymore because they know they have an approved buyer who's taking it. And I'm earning the interest, the spread, that what in this case we said 3, and let's say you bought it at 5%. I earn the 2% spread, and the 2% spread buys down my rate. So gets me back into another mortgage, my next house at the same 3.5 range. At the end, it's a 3-year term. At the end of the 3 years, I have as a seller, if you aren't ready, willing, and able to close, then I have the ability. At that point, you forfeited a 25. They said on average, they're paying 40%. I think it was 40% down. So it's really highly qualified people who are just looking for a better rate, and as opposed to people who can't get mortgages just looking for the opportunity to buy. And at the end, I can either, if they can't if they don't want to buy or don't qualify because say rates went up in 3 years, who knows? Then at that point in time, I can renew it for another term with them. I could increase the interest rate to increase the spread. But it was a fascinating program. Really fascinating. It was a real creative way to go about it. And they've got the blessing of everybody, including RESPA. Matter of fact, the RESPA guy told them that they're doing absolutely nothing wrong. They love the program. And he told them, "You're doing God's work. Please keep going."
Wow,
So
that's interesting. I mean, it almost sounds like a rap to me, but I guess maybe a little different.
so he called it a seller financing bridge loan.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. That's pretty creative.
It was very creative. Yeah, I was very, 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 very excited about it. It was a really interesting program, and so they created a email address for EXP agents. We're the first company to get access to this. They have been doing it, and when I say first company wide, they've been doing it with people that they know and few agents here and there. And they were 10 deals away from hitting their next plateau, where it then opened up for more. But they've done $6 million houses this way. So they're not doing garbage. They have a $200,000 minimum, I think is what it was. But it was pretty fascinating. I mean, imagine if you were selling your house on some sort of terms and they removed the debt from your DTI. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be helpful, I think, for the right person, right?
Yeah, certainly. Well, tell me something you saw that you want to share.
Yeah, like just from the event.
Yeah, or Dallas or anywhere else for that matter.
Yeah, Well, I mean, one, I'm glad that you got there to Cabo, because I think when I first mentioned it to you, it didn't seem like you were really all over it by any means. But I think you took a leap of faith and trusted that that there might be something there, and I'm glad to hear that you had an experience that reflects that. I'm really excited about that for you. Um, and yeah, for me, I mean, yeah, for me, the biggest thing is like, I go to these things primarily because, I want to lead by example and get, people in my group in the room. So, had a solid turnout within my group. About 14 of the agents in my group made the commitment and got there for it. So, um, not bad. I've actually had more. I think the previous year, but I mean, I'll take the 14, and just for the right person, the connections and experience can and will make a very big difference. I've seen it time and time again. And I think the most powerful thing, and kind of I feel like I heard this from at least two or three people this week, but it was something that was even on my mind going into the week before I heard it from two or three people, which is just, intentionally putting yourself in environments and rooms with more people that, are on the path that you aspire to be more on yourself, just the power of proximity. And that, to me, that's the biggest thing with these events, is who you have the ability to be in proximity with all throughout the week and to have those conversations with. And that's my favorite part about it. I love when, I've got someone in my group who, maybe hasn't been to one of these before. Maybe they've been to one, but then, they're not familiar with, a lot of the big speakers and leaders. And gosh, there's another person. I'm not going to answer this. Anyway, I'm like, what's going on this morning? There's people coming to my door. But anyway, oh, good. He didn't knock. He just left something. Not a good salesman right there. He would have knocked if he had something good to say. Um, but but yeah, just yeah, I love when I get to just connect people with each other. And afterwards, like, and that's something I consistently hear from people when it's their first time there. Like, one of the agents in my group is newer to the business. This was his first big event, and I kind of asked him what he was taking away from it, and he kind of alluded to the fact of like how kind of intimidated he felt, which is kind of funny to hear. But kind of thinking back, I could get how he would feel that way. But just, I know that for the right person, it serves them well to surround themselves with people that are doing and achieving bigger things than maybe they thought were possible up to that point. And I think some people will gravitate towards that kind of environment, and probably many more people wouldn't. Many more people, like, they either wouldn't make the investment or commitment to get in a room like that, or they just might just be so nervous or timid about it that they wouldn't do it because they feel so uncomfortable. But to me, if there's discomfort, if there's people that are doing so many deals or building such a big business that you almost feel out of place. To me, that's an indicator you're probably in the right room to actually grow. So yeah, to me, that's the most powerful thing about these events, is just the ability to put yourself in proximity to, some of the people out there in the industry doing the biggest things in the industry. And, you make new connections, you have conversations, you might have a takeaway, and you might have someone you met that you can collaborate with things and work on some things together to, build the vision we're all building. It's kind of like what they call, it's not really what the event's called, but One Big Fire is kind of like the movement. That's kind of the idea behind it, is, we all have a flame burning inside of us to build something. Like, what if we could put our flames together and make one big fire? And that's kind of it's kind of cool they had it on the building and everything else there. But that's kind of the sentiment behind what we do when we get on the ground at these big events.
Well, I can give you my closing on all of this. I arrived in EXP World. I arrived there a chump, and I left there a chump. I will not return there a chump. That is my line in the sand. That I will be back next year to that same event, but I will not be coming back, a chump. And so I'm about 100 and I don't know, total 140-ish agent count. And that's my measuring stick, because that's what I do is attract agents, grow agents, mentor agents, coach agents, etc. And I will not be showing up next year like that. So you have that number. It's now in video evidence. My claim, my stake. So yeah, that was the biggest thing for me. I was excited to get home and get working and get putting things into action and learning more. And I found it very inspirational that so many people had accomplished so many things. I had heard from you and from many others that this was like an event that really helped them propel themselves into a positive direction. So yeah, this is certainly going to be it's going to be the case for me as well.
Yeah, and so I feel like at least a couple of the speakers that tends to be the theme. Like, there's usually at least 2 or 3 speakers that kind of it's a part of their story is they attended one of these events, 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and now they're on stage sharing their story that has happened since that point in time. So yeah, it's definitely something that's you'll meet people that kind of share that. And again, I think it really does go back to being in these kind of environments with other big thinkers, movers, shakers, and if you're the kind of person that resonates with that, there's probably something within you that maybe has yet to be tapped into to build something great. But it's always cool to hear the new stories every year with people that did exactly that. And that was definitely me at one point. I'm awaiting my invite to the stage, but I'm going to let that happen when it's I'm not going to ask for an invite to the stage. I'm going to let it happen when it organically happens. But I know I've got a story too, and it's very much still. I think it's still in the development in a big way. But the Mexico event did change my whole trajectory and kind of the momentum from that. It's that was the inflection point for me. So.
Yeah, I think there was certainly lots of new, but more importantly, it was the extraction of stuff that I had in my head that I had done that had worked, and for whatever reason, positive or negative, that I had moved forward and begun doing something differently. So it was pulling some of that stuff that I knew. There was a lot of discussion about events and how events are so powerful and strong, and etc. And I never, like, I don't know why, but it's not like I don't know this, but we had an event called Destination Remax, and we would literally, you would invite people to fly to Denver, Colorado from Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, we had a direct flight, but we're 3 hours difference time. So you're talking about getting on a plane at like 3 o'clock in the morning, flying to Denver, being picked up by a bus, and then spending the day in Denver, whining, dining, showing them our corporate headquarters, showing them how big and masterful and how awesome, and giving them a little touch of the culture. Then there's food and wine and all that good stuff. And then turning around and getting to the airport because the event's over, getting to the airport and sometimes having 2, 3, 4 hours waiting in the airport till you got back on a plane to fly home. So leaving at 3 a.m. and getting home at like 1 a.m. And in a lot of cases, as a male who owned a brokerage, I was asking females. So you had to build a lot of trust with people for a female to get on an airplane and fly with you across the country for the day and return, right? That's not a light ask for somebody. They need to feel safe and comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. But so my point simply is that I just totally, Destination Remax was in the rearview mirror for me, and I just totally forgot about it. Then I hear them talking, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy smokes, we did that. We did that so well with Remax for a period of time. They eventually went away from it, which I don't know if it was because of cost. But the event was so powerful. The reason why it was so powerful is, again, my example of a female. If a woman was willing to get on an airplane and fly across the country with me to go to Denver for the day, she's already somewhat emotionally open to the idea of making a transition to Remax, or she wouldn't have got on the plane. She's already demonstrated she trusts me, or she wouldn't have got on the plane, right? I mean, I'm sure there was people that went with me that said, screw it, it'll be a one-day adventure paid for by Jimmy, so I'll just go. But most people thought to themselves, I got other stuff I could do today, but I am curious about what this guy's offering. I'll go listen. So I think that just kind of, again, it wasn't that events were new to me. It was that it brought a renewed sense of, oh yeah, I did this. It worked really well. Maybe I need to get back to doing something like that again.
Yeah, that's yeah, I mean, it's experiencing the people, the community environment, because like I believe that more people, they're going to move based on a relationship they have with someone, and then kind of getting a better sense of like what that actual community is. Like that's the way they're going to move towards something versus, I mean, I think that most other scenarios are just trying to move away from something that's just getting so bad that it's such a pain that they're seeking a new solution, because most people are just comfortable. 95% of the agent population is not even in a stage of consideration where they're looking for another brokerage or opportunity. Maybe about 5% is at any given time. So for that 95%, like I think the best thing to do is build that relationship and connection, and then if you can get them get them in front of your community and get like almost a sense of like what it would like to be running with you before they even make any kind of commitment like that.
Yeah, we used to always say be their broker before you're their broker.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So all right, my friend. Well, as I expected, with all the travel and the absence of a couple of weeks, I knew we'd have a lot to talk about. But yeah, it's been fabulous. I'm looking forward to being back on here with you next week. I'm going to make sure that every week we get on here, I have grown. I am bigger. I am better. My organization is getting bigger and better every week, so that I'm not a chump next year. That's my commitment. I am not walking back in there a chump. Not sure what the definition of a chump is, because it's not one that is for everyone. It's just one that's for me and the expectations I put on myself to deliver, and for my family, and for the people that I'm serving and working with. So I'm week by week, I will be eliminating CHUMP from my world.
Good. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm really eager to put some things into motion and really create a new wave of momentum for the year ahead here. So excited to see what that brings into the conversation here in the weeks ahead, and hopefully a few new people whose ears we reach in the process here. So if you're listening, drop us a comment somewhere so that we can see it. We'd love to know, what market area are you serving, within your real estate business. And so if anything, drop us a comment. Let us know what city, what state you're in. And I honestly have a lot of opportunities that come across my desk as far as, like I place quite a few referrals. All I know for sure, I may or may not know who you are if you're dropping a comment. But one thing's for sure, I cannot send a referral to someone I don't know, what city they serve or that they even exist. So, put your name out there, drop a comment, let us know you're watching. We appreciate you if you're giving us your ear. And if you got value out of this conversation, bring a friend. Share this episode with someone who you feel might get some value out of it as well.
Well, I will second everything Tyler said. Like, share, and comment, and we appreciate it. And we're enjoying our conversations, and invite you to the conversation each and every week, unless we're traveling. But besides that, we're here each and every week and look forward to hearing from you. Take care. So,